Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. The last episode we had a private tea session with Lily and Hanako. I want to say we got a little closer to Hanako in that regard, but I feel like I got us further away when beforehand I chose something that is probably not the best choice. I just thought it would be the most respectful one, or respectable one. I don't know, I guess we'll see, but all is well as we go down the Hanako route. Hopefully I didn't already fuck us over, because apparently there's multiple ways to do that. I was just remembering back that the map for this game is literally a huge branching tree. It's pretty fucking crazy. But anyways, let us resume. I pull my door closed, ready for another day of class. Well, time to stop playing. Sleep well. Kenji's sudden arrival makes me jump, and I narrowly avoid butting heads with him. I know he has poor eyesight, but he knows who I am. Does he still have to stand this close? Oh yeah, like a baby. Damn, why do people say that? Have you ever heard a baby sleep? They scream all night, every night. Babies don't sleep well, ever. Well, there goes my restful state. I have to remember to never use figures of speech with Kenji. Alright, I get your point. It was a figure of speech. Yeah, sure, whatever. Where were you last night? I had a favor to ask, but you weren't around. For a split second, I considered telling Kenji the truth, that I was spending time with Hanako and Lily. Thankfully, that split second passes as soon as it came. I was just out, checking out the local area and stuff. You know, recon. Good man, good. I knew you were the type to plan ahead. Anyway, what was this favor you wanted? I was going to get some takeout, but I needed change. Thank fucking God we weren't here. Wait, what? I gave you money last week and you still haven't paid me back. Tuh. And I was starting to think you were cool. Kenji fishes around in his pocket and produces his wallet. As he counts out the 400 yen he owes me, I can clearly see at least two 10,000 yen notes. Hey, what the hell? Why are you borrowing money off me when you've got that much cash? Kenji hisses a little, realizing that he's been had. Get off my case, man. It's bad luck to break a big note for anything less than half its value. It's the tycoon's rule. Well, seems as if I've been breaking that rule a lot. Last night's dinner is going to cost me 7 years of bad luck. 7 years! Don't you think that's enough cause to help someone out? I'd get a shorter sentence if I just stole the stuff. My common sense screams at me to say something to him, but thankfully I restrain myself. Arguing a point like this with Kenji will just lead to further and more complicated discussions. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe you should plan these things a little better. Yeah, man, I know. But I've just got so much stuff to do, it's hard. And you're never around anymore, so I'm on my own. We're supposed to be brothers in brotherhood, remember? Yeah, sure, I get you. Global conspiracy and such. I'll keep my ear to the ground. Kenji draws close enough for me to get a clear whiff of his garlic-tainted breath. You'd better, man. You're already spending less time here. That's the first thing they do. They'll try to split us up, divide and conquer. Sun Tzu said that. Roger that. Now I've got to be going. I've got classes. Are you coming? Nah, I'm tired. I stay up all night just to make sure nothing was going to happen after splitting that note. As rational as ever, I see. Whatever. Night. Kenji scurries back into his room and I hear him throwing his locks as I walk down the hallway. What a fucking terrible character. That is why some people can't roll their tongue, or why their second toe is larger than their big toe. Muto beams a half-moon smile at us, obviously proud of his explanation of recessive genes. However, no matter how impressed he is at the science that defines who we are, the classroom seems to be reduced to a stupor. Why is it that a bad explanation can make even the most interesting things seem worthless? I can see Muto deflate as he realizes that nothing he said in the past hour has sunk in. Whispered conversations start to break the silence, and like an avalanche, the noise level in the class starts to rise. Defeated, Muto identifies some questions from the textbook and sets to clearing off the blackboard. Almost as if expected, Hanako packs up her things and leaves as soon as people start talking and laughing among themselves. The initial shock of seeing someone play so blatantly truant has started to fade, but it doesn't stop me from wondering. Is she leaving because she doesn't want people to speak to her? Or is it just the thought of people around her shattering her peace? Before I can think about the topic any further, the lunch bells ring. I wonder if she was simply taking the opportunity to leave early. The usual clamor of students exchanging books for lunch reverberates around the room. While Misha is distracted, I grab my lunch and head out the door. Lily already sits in the tea room setting out her lunch alone. So Hanako's not here then? Oh, Hisao, how are you? Almost fucked up there. I haven't met Hanako since this morning, I'm afraid. That's right. Hanako and Lily live next to each other. Somehow I think their morning conversations are slightly more grounded than Kenji's ramblings. That's strange. She left class early, so I figured she'd come here. So she's still leaving class early. Huh? Yeah, I've seen her do it a few times. Lily drops her head a little and her tone of voice is notably depressed. It's very reminiscent of someone who is used to hearing bad news. I was so sure that she'd stop doing that once you two became friends. Everyone has their own pace, I suppose. Well, I was wondering about just that today. What exactly does she leave? Or why exactly does she leave? Excuse me. I'm not entirely sure myself. I personally think it's because she doesn't want to be put in a situation where she has to answer someone. I have a flashback to my first meeting with her, when I thought she looked like a cornered animal. Maybe I wasn't far from the truth. But she seems fine with talking to you and me a bit. It's a little more complex than that. I imagine that the first thing most people ask her about is her scars and what happened. She rarely talks about it with me, but I can tell that she doesn't like to remember whatever happened back then. Leaving class and running away from discussions is her preemptive strike, if you will. Huh. So then how does that explain her talking to me? You said it yourself yesterday at breakfast. You tried to ignore her scars. Once she saw that you weren't going to ask her about that, she opened herself up to you. I guess you're right. Maybe. I don't know. You know her better than I, so I'll take your word for it. I wouldn't worry about that. I'm sure you'll come to know her know her as well as I do soon enough, excuse me. I welcome the prospect of her having a new friend, and the two of you have such similar interests. Well, I hardly count reading as a team sport. It is good to have company, though. That's my point. Hanako is still an average person at heart. She also wants company at times like that. Huh. I see. I think. To be honest, both of you still confuse me a little. That's only natural, Hisao. We've only known each other for a little while. It's unreasonable to expect you to understand us, just as we can't understand you. But that is half the fun of becoming friends, right? Yes. Yes, it is. Although I suppose there is the matter of us being opposite genders. Men and women do seem to confuse each other quite often. Yes, that is true. She says this with a light giggle, finding amusement at the odd little details of life. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to start eating. No, go ahead. I think I'll eat something too. I've got some books I want to drop back at the library before classes start, so I'd better get a move on. You'll probably find Hanako there as well. If you do see her, can you tell her to stop by my room later tonight? I'd like to talk to her. You're not coming? Unfortunately, I have class representatives meeting later. Or a class representatives meeting later. How could I forget such a small and easy to see word or letter? I am stupid at times, so I'll be gone as soon as I finish my lunch. Okay then. If I don't see her in the library, then I'll tell her in class. I'm sure she'll be back after lunch. We fall silent as we start to eat, and I take a second to reflect on our conversation. I've always thought that Hanako's shyness was simply due to her being self-conscious of her scars, but that is a pretty superficial way of looking at her. Just when I thought I was able to see through the fog of Lily and Hanako, I realized that I'm more lost than when I started. Lily quickly finishes her lunch, acutely aware of her meeting. I don't blame her. Shizune is most likely going to be there, and I doubt she wants to give her the satisfaction of another argument. I must be off. Same time tomorrow? Same time, same channel. I'd better be off too. I don't want to risk being late. Lily smiles gently, picks up her cane, and walks out into the hall. I turn my back on Lily as we head in opposite directions. For some reason, I find myself hoping she doesn't get into another fight with Shizune. As much as I like Lily, Shizune and Misha have been pretty instrumental in helping me adjust, even if half of our conversations are thinly veiled recruitment attempts, which makes me strongly dislike them, but that's another story. Then again, I barely know either of them. Maybe they were previously leaders of some kind of secret society, but their love for each other drove them apart. Man, I need to stop reading cheap fiction. It's rotting my brain. Either that or I've got to move away from Kenji and his bad influence. It's sad that I can't tell the two apart anymore. I slide my books down the return chute and they crash into the cart with a pleasant thud, and I just knew, it was such good intuition that was going to scare her. Yuuko, however, doesn't seem as impressed as I. Hisao, you scared me. Sorry, I thought you would have been used to that by now. Or is the literacy level here so low that nobody borrows any books? Huh? No, I think everyone here can read fine. Never mind. There are some battles that you can never win. Trying to explain jokes is one of them. My dad taught me that the hard way. Say, Yuko, have you seen Hanako about? She left class early, but she wasn't in her usual hiding place. I think I saw her sneak in before lunch. Oh, but I'm not supposed to tell anyone that. I just told you that I saw her leave, so no need to stress out. Oh, of course. She's probably in the back. Thanks. Get any new books in recently? No, sorry. I'll let you know when we do, though. Okay. If there's one thing I know about librarians, part-time or otherwise, it's that they appreciate people who take a genuine interest in their work. I walk the now familiar path to Hanako's reading nook, picking out a few titles along the way. Sometimes I find it hard to discover a book that will interest me among the shelves. An author's name and a two-word title don't mean much in a sea of similar words. For that reason, I sometimes reread books that I read in the past. Better to bet on the favorite than a new runner. That is true. I am actually not that great of a reader. I don't really know what it is. I strongly dislike reading books. But there are some really good ones out there that have just grabbed my attention and kept me going. And I've actually reread them a few times. Usually it's Stephen King because I'm a sick fuck like him. No, he's way worse, but you guys get the point. I can definitely understand the want to reread something, because going out of your way to find something that's just as good or better is kind of difficult. An unfamiliar title from a familiar author peeks out among the spines of its neighbors, so I remove it from the shelf. At least I'm not going over old material. As expected, Hanako sits on her beanbag, buried deep in a copy of Dance, Dance, Dance. Hi, Hanako. How's it going? I fight back the urge to ask why she left class early. If Lily's suspicions were right, then asking her about that could have the opposite effect. Best to leave it for the time being. Sometimes the best way to get an answer from someone is to never ask the question. Hello, Hisao. I'm fine. Something seems off, and after a couple of seconds I realize what it is. Hanako's smiling. She looks as if she's pleased to see me. It's a nice change from the usual instinctively frightened reaction, and something I hope I can see more of as we get to know each other better. Good to hear. How's that book? I've heard it's a trip. It's good, I think. I've only just started it, so I don't really know. Fair enough. Let me know how it goes. I may borrow it once you're done. Sure. There's a good 15 minutes left in lunch. Not enough to really get into a book, but too much to stand around doing nothing. And Hanako's already returned to her reading, so I doubt I'll get much conversation from her. Oh well, I'd better make myself comfortable. I slouch into a beanbag and crack open my book. The familiar style of the author leaps out at me from the very first line. As the sentences turn into paragraphs, I start to relax a little. But no matter how I try, I can't seem to get myself into the atmosphere of the book. This is partly due to the lack of time, but the more distracting factor is Hanako. Every 10 or so seconds, she peers over the top of her book, but when our eyes meet, she quickly ducks behind the covers. I guess she did want to talk about something after all. What's up? You look like a prairie dog on lookout. It's nothing. I've told you before, nothing means something when you say it like that. Hanako squirms a little in her beanbag, hoping that by changing her position, she'll find the word she's looking for. I was in an accident. Accident? Just now? Are you alright? Hanako shakes her head, her hair flowing around her shoulders in wisps of amethyst on a background of pale and dark flesh. No, when I was younger. Realization crashes into me like a semi. When I was... It's alright, Hanako. You don't have to tell me anything if you don't want to. Again, she shakes her head. No, I have to tell you. When I was young, I was in a fire. My house burned down and I nearly didn't make it. After that, I was alone. Hanako's eyes glisten in the dim light of the library, and I reach out to grasp her hand. I wonder what was up with that visualization. It's okay, Hanako. You don't have to keep going. But I have to. Why? What brought this on? Last night, Lily told me about your heart. And I didn't think it was fair. Fair? That I knew about you, but you didn't know about me. I squeeze Hanako's hand a little. Don't be silly. But, yeah, I have a heart condition. I lean a little closer to Hanako. What I didn't tell Lily is that I had my first attack when a girl confessed to me. I smile a little to break the tension. Really? Really? I haven't heard from her for a while, though, so I guess it's all over. I know it's all over. There's no other way to interpret what happened the last time I saw her. In some ways, not having heard from her again has helped me move on from that period of my life. So now we both know a little more about each other. But you don't have to talk about things if you don't want to. In fact, I feel a little bad even thinking about that whole incident. I can almost smell the hospital's disinfectant burning the back of my sinuses again. I imagine Hanako is going through the same thing now. When I was in the hospital, I went to the burn ward once and only once. I was bored, so I went for a walk through all the wards. I went through oncology and thought that I could take it, but when I got to the burn ward, I turned around and went back to my bed. To think that Hanako would have spent months in a place like that, smelling nothing but corrupted skin, strong disinfectant, and sterilized air. The really bad cases were kept in isolated pods that no foreign objects could enter. That would have meant no reading. I would have gone insane if I didn't have any books in the hospital. And she said she was alone. Did her parents die? I'll have to ask Lily about it. I can imagine myself saying something dumb unintentionally. Thank you, Hisao. I haven't told many people about this. To be honest, I haven't told many people about my circumstances either. Then I won't tell anyone either. Deal. I change my grip on Hanako's hand into a handshake as the warning bells chime through the window. Well then, we'd better head back to class, eh? Sure. Damn, that was some smooth shit right there, Hisao. Are we moving on to another chapter? Or an act? Castling. Okay, well this definitely confirms that she has another eye. In the back of my mind I was thinking, I don't know if this character has another eye or if that was a part of the burn. Actually, no, we've seen her other eye, right? Like she has a sprite with the eye kind of like gleaming in, right? Maybe I'm just fucking stupid. The tint of the room slowly changes from the shine of the afternoon to the orange of dusk. A clock lazily ticks away the seconds, counting in the background on the verge of hearing. But no matter how long I wait, the outcome cannot be changed. The diminutive playing piece makes a small click against the board. Like a wound spring, Hanako makes her move only moments after mine. It's embarrassing. In comparison to my 5-minute moves, she seems to know exactly what she wants to do. Mate. Again, what does that make this? 3-2? Stalemates don't count. Damn, you're getting better at this every day. That or she's been holding back. I'd never have thought that when I first met her, but she really has a knack for this game. Chess seems to have become a popular pastime for the two of us, hiding away in the tea room playing a game or two after classes. From here, the students outside can just barely be heard milling about. The everyday noises from below remind me a little of my life before Yamaku, though I'm by now well aware that it's a life I'll never get back to. Excuse me. Fuck. Fancy another game? I have to finish my homework. Oh well, I'll see you tomorrow then. But what about this? Hanako points to the tea set surrounding the mostly empty chessboard. Don't worry about that. I've got it. Oh, okay. See you. Later. Hanako departs as I start cleaning up the area. The occasional whistles and cheers from the sporting clubs outside become less frequent, eventually approaching silence. A part of me still wants to be in some kind of team. Since I played soccer and other sports before my accident, I guess it's only normal to feel nostalgic about what I can't do anymore. But I have other reasons than that for my coming here so often, and I don't feel so bad about losing that part of myself because of them. Lily is a good friend by now, but it's the small exchanges I have with Hanako that feel especially dear. The small victories I feel every day as I see more of what she's like under her self-imposed shell. That's why I come here most of all. As I'm putting away cups and saucers, I hear talking outside the door. Pausing for a moment to listen, I can make out that it's Hanako and Lily, and decide to go outside to investigate. Are you quite sure? I'm sure. Hisao. Hanako turns to me with a look of mild surprise as she notices my approach. Lily must have caught her as she was about to leave. Oh my, Hisao is here as well. Afternoon, Lily. What's up? I was hoping, now that I finished with my class representative duties for the day, that I might have the two of you accompany for tea at the Shanghai. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves outside of the school for a change. I'd be up for it. I think Hanako had work to do, though. It's not all that much. Wonderful. It seems that we're decided then. Alright. I cast my eyes across the cafe as the three of us step in. As usual, there are only a handful of people around at most, and the noise level is a quiet background hum. The hold Lily has on Hanako's arm remains just as it is, or as it has been for the entire slow walk down the hill to the local town. Though it's hard to say for which reason, for Lily's guidance or for Hanako's reassurance. For a moment, Lily removes her arm from Hanako's to retract her cane as Yuko quickly skitters over to where we stand, but soon replaces it right back where it had been. Welcome to the Shanghai. May I take your order? She gives a deep bow, her well-delivered and professional introduction putting her in a good mood. It's a nice change from the norm for Yuko. Just tea, please. Hanako, Hisao? I'll have a slice of pie and a coffee. Just tea, please. Coming right up, please take any seat you wish, and I'll be back shortly. Yuko gives a smile and a nod before shuffling to the counter, and we make our way to some empty seats by the window in quick measure. We slip into our seats, the girls on one side with Lily's cane propped up beside them, and I on the other. I realize that Hanako's not doing something that she so often does. Rather than keeping her eyes pinned to the ground and hiding behind her blind escort, busily trying to convince herself that the world around them doesn't exist, she's merely keeping her eyes low and helping Lily around. Are you okay, Lily? You look tired. She lowers her head a little, looking somewhat embarrassed that she let it slow. Slow show. Fuck, goddamn, I still made a mistake. Class representative work can be very tiring. considering that it often means dealing with the student council. Very tiring indeed. How do the other representatives go? Better than I, but not by much. Shizune is a harsh taskmaster. Damn, I am making a lot of mistakes. No matter whom she deals with. Doesn't sound like you particularly relish the job. Why do you do it in the first place if it's that bad? Being a class representative is enjoyable, and I can deal with the responsibility well enough. It's just that the people involved are sometimes... She trails off, cutting her words at a rather opportune spot. It's hard to imagine Lily cursing, but I imagine that if anyone can make her do it, it would be Shizune. Hanako looks to be withering a bit in the light of such conflict, but before I can steer the topic away a little, she stands up. Hanako? I'll be back in a bit. With that, she leaves for the restrooms. I suppose that's one way to deal with the situation, if that was indeed her motivation. Lily, however, looks a little wounded. Don't worry about it. I don't think it was you. But I think she's getting a bit stronger recently. You've seen it yourself, right? That went a bit awry. Fortunately, Lily doesn't look offended. And by now, I really shouldn't be quite so scared of stepping on that landmine around her. Possibly. Sometimes I find it hard to tell, though. Silence reigns for a moment before 2 teacups, a pie, and a mug of steaming coffee appear in front of us. I notice that Yuko takes special care to place the teacup against the tip of Lily's fingers, letting her know where it is. Here you go. Thanks, Yuko. Thank you. With a quick and silent bow, the bespectacled... Whatever, a waitress takes her leave. Damn, I'm sorry, guys. I am making mistakes. I'm tired from all this speaking. It really does take its toll. Ah, that's right. I was meaning to ask you something, and now would be the right time to do so. I'm all ears. Hanako's birthday is coming up, and I was hoping that you might accompany me for present shopping in the city this weekend. Hanako's birthday is soon. I suppose it'd be a nice chance to cheer her up a bit. Like Yuko, she always seems to be teetering on the edge of either panic or depression, and I've never seen her enjoy herself much outside of our chess games. All that aside, learning the layout of the city better with a friend keeping me company sounds like a good way to spend a weekend. Sure, I'd be happy to. Have you got any plans for what you want to do for her birthday? A party or anything? Hanako being Hanako, perhaps a low-key affair would be... Lily suddenly cuts herself short, leaving me to wonder why she brings her teacup up to her lips and begins to sip. After a few seconds, I notice Hanako walking up to us over her shoulder. Lily's hearing must be very good indeed if it was the sound of the restroom door opening that tipped her off. Hanako takes her seat once again and wastes no time in drinking her tea. Soon the 3 of us are quietly eating and drinking as the sun sets. It's a nice way to spend the remainder of the day's light, and it makes me appreciate the quiet and serene surroundings of Yamaku. I think I'm really beginning to like life here, as isolated as it may be. Alright, we're gonna end it here because I'm just fucking up everything I say. So we are in the 3rd act. I don't know how many there are. I don't know how many there were in Emmy's route, but we're definitely making some sick as fuck progress, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Take it easy.